because something is happening that is very strange. It would appear that March is the new January.
Yes.
Remember the way we were saying January was very short? March imeamua hapana, mutangoja. We've already done 5 or 6 weeks of March.
5 weeks.
Na bado kuna zingine siku. Hata next week bado tutakuwa March. Hadi katikati ya wiki.
Lakini don't worry, 5 days remaining. 5 days.
The only saving grace is that after that there's a long holiday. Yeah, Easter.
The Easter. Is it really a long holiday? It's just 3 days. It's just the Friday and then it's Monday and then...
Aye. Yeah. Anyway, karibu sana. My name is Fred Indemoli. This is the Morning Cafe. How hot is your coffee? Very interesting conversations on the show today.
Absolutely, we do. Lakini before tuende kwa that conversation, you know, speaking of holidays, under somebody's regime, we would have only been working for 3 days. Under somebody's regime.
3 days.
Unakumbuka venye Wajakoya alikuwa anatuambia.
Alafu hizo zingine 4 days mko holiday.
Tuko home tunalala tuko holiday. At least tumekuwa tunasema now that is a long holiday. My name is Anne Odida again. Karibu sana to Morning Cafe. We have an interesting conversation starting 8 a.m. It's about relationships kama kawaida. Being a Wednesday, ukiniona na red unajua ni matters of the heart. We are asking you.
And you look like you're protecting your heart from something.
Well, they should be protecting their hearts for me. And that is what I would tell the gents. Are we overanalyzing love? We're saying red flags everywhere. I wonder what you think.
I tend to agree, because if you go through social media, especially TikTok, you're just scrolling up through the reels. There are these people who come to speak about, hey, as a man, don't do this, as a woman, don't do this. And they speak in absolutes. 100%. It's like they are experts. Don't... And nilisikia mwakidogo usioshe vyombo.
Nani asioshe? Mwanamke?
As a man. No, let's not go there anyway. We shall change. Anyway, but everything has become a red flag, even the normal things. Nikikosa pesa kidogo leo, red flag, huyo jamaa achana, huyo red flag. So, okay, these are just normal things that people go through in life. So, but everything has become a red flag. Don't you think that is an over-analysis of normal things that kawaida we should not even be paying attention to? Lakini ukiona kidogo, ule ati, I saw that girl, let's say, okay, fine. Anakula sana.
If a woman eats too much, actually, you know, people say that's a red flag for them.
You see? Msichana mdogo lakini akona appetite kama ya fundi. Alafu unasema red flag.
Huyu akipatana na mimi anaweza niacha first date.
Don't you think that is over-analyzing?
Well, I really can't blame them, because for me as well, I do have things that I see as a red flag, but that's besides the point. I saw something quite interesting, that for the ladies, this lady was saying that for her, a red flag is a man who has a child who is less than a year old and is single.
How is that even a red flag?
Now it's a red flag because there's this notion that that man will most likely go back to the baby mama when they're co-parenting. Wakienda pale kuona mtoto, then something is definitely happening behind your back. Mtu atalia na sio baby mama.
Also, there's this whole argument about single women and single mothers, that is already a red flag. Ati akija na watoto wawili, so ati unaanza 2-0. Ati red flag tayari. Okay, since when did it become a problem? I think we just that's my thinking. We may be over-analyzing these things and picking up red flags that don't even exist. Yeah.
Or maybe people now know their worth. Watu wanajua, people can now tell what is bare minimum and now what is actually worth their time and struggle and energy and all that. Maybe kitambo we didn't really talk about what's actually above maximum, because now the conversation is, this is bare minimum. Kama unipati pesa, hizo messages are good morning.
Kwanza hapo kwa pesa.
That is bare minimum.
Hata nikikusalamia tu hai na sina pesa, red flag. Anyway, what do you think? Do you feel that guys are over-analyzing relationships and love matters in this day and age?
Hapo, umeniweka on the spot, because there's a conversation you're having with Charlie, our cameraman, before we came on air. And I was telling him, you know, if you send me a text message at 4 a.m., I will tax you for that.
Kitambo hiyo ilikuwa ni mapenzi
I will bill you for that. 4 a.m. you have to send me some money before I respond to that message.
Oh no.
Are we over-analyzing love? That is the conversation we'll be having starting 8 a.m. Interact with us on our socials, TV47 Kenya, on Facebook and on YouTube, on X. at TV47 Digital. Kama kawaida, you can tag us. My handle is at @Ann_Dida.
Mine is at Fred Ndimuli. Before that, of course, we'll be having the State of the Nation. We'll be talking to the youth today about what they feel about Niko Kadi inaendelea. Now, what the current politics or political field, is it really serving them? Ama watu washawaacha?
Uko Kadi?
Are they feeling... mimi nimekuwa Kadi for the last 3 decades.
Have you confirmed if it's valid?
Oh, yes.
When did you confirm that?
Oh, yesterday kwanza. Unataka nikuonyeshe niko na evidence kwa karatasi. Anyway, that conversation will be coming your way at around 6:30, so do stand by for that.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at the state of the weather. All right, let's see how the weather's looking across the country, and we start off in Makueni. It's raining this morning. It's 18 degrees, highs of 27 degrees expected today. It's raining in Migori, thunderstorms expected there. It's 25 degrees today, the highs they're expecting there. And this morning it's 15 degrees. Samburu, it's a mostly cloudy day. It's 18 degrees this morning, highs of 29 degrees. That's the weather in Makueni, Migori and Samburu. Kwale, light rains expected. It's 23 degrees this morning, so it's a hot day in Kwale, highs of 29 degrees. Baringo, it's a mostly cloudy day, highs of 30 degrees, and this morning it's 19 degrees. Kajiado, light rains expected, highs of 24 degrees, and this morning it's 15 degrees, and that's the state of the weather. All right, now let's have a look at the quote of the day.
You have to believe in yourself when no one else does.
Yes, indeed. You have to believe in yourself when no one else does, because you have only you. Anyway, let's now come back and take a look at Leo Magazetini. All right, on the papers today, and we start off with the Daily Nation. Grief, politics collide. It's about what these top leaders have been talking about, the kind of banter between the president and the opposition leaders, and the kind of accusations that they've been trading. One of them has been about the involvement of young girls who died in different ways and were buried, but and I think it's the president who has been accusing someone of killing girls. Now they have two girls here on the front pages, Maureen Kenywa and Regina Wairimu. Maureen Kenywa is a Mathera-based blogger who died on May 24th, 2019, following a hit-and-run accident at Sagana in Nyeri. And Regina Wairimu was a fourth-year Dedan Kimathi University student whose death on February 12th, 2023 is still unresolved. They say that one of these cases, there's a probe into Regina's death. It's been going on for about 3 years. 10 suspects have so far been questioned. Nothing has happened. But now they've been involved. They've been pulled into this discussion. You can imagine now the trauma on the families, and that's the angle this paper has taken. That what are the families thinking about? They've buried their children. Now they hear their children being the subject of political discussions at the highest level in this land. You buried your child, of course you're trying to heal. However, they may have died, you're trying to heal. And then now you hear that now your daughter is being discussed.
Juu ya gari.
Yes, kama siasa. kama siasa. No one is really concerned about, okay, can we resolve, can we help this family heal better? Are we seeking justice for this family? Are they genuinely seeking justice for these families? But kuna discussion tu hapa, wewe ulifanya hivi. Where does that leave the families?
It's very casual discussion,
Yes.
not just discussion, because you think even if it's discussion that they talk about something that would in the long run give these families justice
Exactly.
that they need. But then it's so casual, and it's not once, twice.
It's something that's being repeated on a daily basis over the last 2 weeks. So I'm thinking, okay, the family, maybe the parents or the siblings are wondering, okay, really? Of what benefit will this be to us?
Yes.
Is it that we're going to, that justice will be expedited, that if at all there was foul play anywhere, that, okay, fine, we might find justice in the next few weeks or so? There's no such promise. It's just political banter and exchange and nothing after that.
Yes.
So that's the angle that this Daily Nation has taken, and I love that angle because it has gone beyond, okay, fine, watu wanatukanana. It's, there are other people out here. You're hurting people directly.
Yeah.
Of what help?
Yes, they're running away from real issues.
Yes.
Talking about non-issues.
Talking about non-issues, where you're hurting people directly.
Yeah.
That's the main story, and it features on pages 4 and 5. It's a spread on the Daily Nation, and I love that tangent they've taken. Fuel shortage spreads is another story here. An increasing number of petrol stations across the country are running out of stocks, forcing motorists to spend time searching for outlets where fuel is still available. Yes, I was caught up in that. And gari karibu izime kwa barabara sababu you're moving from one petrol station to another. Apparently, I made to understand that it's not that there's shortage, but they're hoarding because they're expecting that because of the war in Middle East, bei itapanda. So if you've already have fuels, you kae nayo alafu bei ikipanda, you make more profit. So that's the issue. So shida si ati tumepata shortage yet, but we do anticipate fuel prices will go up.
Because they're hoarding fuel, not that there's no fuel.
The fuel is there.
So they want to thrive in misfortune.
Yes.
Even before a crisis hits.
As a problem.
Hiyo ndo shida yetu as Kenyans.
And once fuel prices go up, at a bus fare itapanda, Uber fare itapanda, kila kitu inapanda.
But I saw EPRA waliwapatia warning and said that anybody who plans to hoard that fuel, then their license might be revoked. Ukipata una hoard fuel.
But how would they even find out? That's the one thing. It's a liberal market. The EPRA only sets the maximum price. In fact, they're just waiting for EPRA to say, okay, now this is the price. Wewe ile mafuta uko nayo ukisema nimefunga duka yangu, who will stop you?
No, but ukifunga, you're the one going at loss.
Anyway.
Ni wewe unapoteza.
So those are the two main stories on the front page of the Daily Nation. Matters fuel na hiyo ingine ya banta ile ilikuwa inaendelea. Lakini kuna hii story ya bodies, 32 bodies exhumed from Kericho mass grave. It's not going away. At some point there were denials, at some point there were revelations by DCI, at some point wakaenda court documents hazijapatikana nini. 32 bodies. Yeah, in one mass grave.
Who are they?
Who are they? Lakini nasikia pia at the same time as they do that, the Kenyatta National Hospital has already issued a notice that they intend to dispose of about 498 bodies.
Mogi Meja.
Yeah. Most of them are men. Bodies that have been unclaimed for years. So probably, hata walikuwa nasema it could be such a case. But you know, they have to get clearance from the courts to bury something like that. Anyway, those are the stories on the front page. Tukiangalia kundani story ya Tuju bado inaendelea, pages 2 and 3. Tuju. Kila mahali. Hata president alisema Tuju anahitaji marafiki wazuri.
Yes.
Yeah. And your story, let our dead daughters rest in peace, families tell feuding politicians. Wanasema you can banter all you want, but please, wameenda. Watoto wetu wameenda. Wachaneni tu nao.
Unaona hiyo story umesema hiyo ya Tuju aliambiwa tafute friends, akaambiwa wewe kuja kuwe rafiki.
But he might need friends. He might need friends.
Yes, I agree.
He might need friends. I'm looking for another story. Of course, inside plot to oust Osotsi from ODM Post. Yo, NDC finally, 2 days time. This Friday. Big story coming up. So wanasema Osotsi na wengine jana wa viongozi wa Waluya, Western Kenya wametoka wakasema hiyo, in fact, wanasusia NDC. Western Kenya wamesema they are not showing up for the NDC.
Why?
My MCAs walikuja wakasema, how come all the leaders who are being removed through this NDC are from our region?
Yes.
Caleb Amesi, Osotsi, Sifuna. Asema hatukuji hiyo NDC.
ESG is Luya. The acting ESG.
Yeah. Anyway, so those are the main stories. Kule nyuma, history beckons, new global FIFA tournament will this year feature 50 nations. Remember the FIFA World Cup itakuwa kule US. Yes. So that's the Daily Nation.
All right, Taifa Leo, uhaba wa mafuta wanukia ndio habari kuu katika ukurasa wa mbele wa gazeti hili. Wanasema kwamba kauli ya waziri wa kawi na petroli Opiyo Wandayi kwamba Kenya ina akiba ya kutosha mafuta imeendelea kuzua utata, huku hali halisi ikionyesha vituo vingi vya mafuta kote nchini vimeanza kukosa bidhaa hiyo muhimu. So si ati ni kukosa, they are just holding the fuel. Anasema licha ya hakikisho la serikali kuna akiba ya kutosha mafuta, vituo vya uza petroli kwa vipimo. So will EPRA actually increase the fuel prices? Will they bow down to the pressure from this, people who sell petrol and fuel?
The concern is now that the next date set for review by EPRA is mid of next month, April.
14th.
Yeah, you can imagine it's about, kama bado tuko March na tunasema March imebakisha wiki zingine kama 3. Tutafika katikati ya April as they continue holding fuel.
Watakuwa wamesahau.
We will have suffered for like a whole month.
Hao pia watakuwa wamesuffer because now how is business going on if you're holding your product that you're selling?
But if at all you're set to make a bigger profit, you can wait.
Are you supporting?
No, I'm not supporting. I'm just saying that's what they're doing.
Wewe unataka kukwama kwa barabara.
They must have rationalized their decision to hold. Wamekaa wakafanya hesabu wakaona it makes sense.
Wote.
Yeah.
Letu jicho. That story is on page 2. Vidokeza zaidi, Tuju alazwa chini ya ulinzi mkali. Aliyekuwa waziri alazwa Karen Hospital baada ya hali yake ya afya kudorora. Na kesi ya 4 kumpinga Atwoli koti pia inaendelea, ni habari katika ukurasa wa 4. Iran yapuuza kauli ya US kuhusu vita. Anasema kwamba Iran yaendelea kuirushia Israeli makombora licha madai ya Trump. Na unajua misinformation imeanza kuendelea kule social media. I saw somebody wrote yesterday evening that US has agreed to end the war. Well, they're open to talks.
That's a claim.
And proposals.
Yes.
But wanasema of course kulikuwa na talks before, but US did not keep the end of the bargain.
Donald Trump has said he's in talks with them and that he has ordered de-escalation, no more attacks so far. But Iran ni nani? Ni kama wako in tandem. Whatever Trump is saying, Iran ni kama hawajapata.
Hata kama ni wewe pia wewe utasikua hivyo. Sababu
wanalipua kulipua.
Mara ya kwanza mtu akikuonyesha red flag unakuwa macho. And that's the Taifa Leo this morning.
All right, let's move on to the Standard. That story about a former cabinet secretary, Raphael Tuju, features prominently on the front page. It's the only story there, and they talk about custody horror. They have this very disturbing image of the former cabinet secretary lying inside a police cell. Na amelalia a stretcher, amefunikiwa pale na blanketi, akona wameweka drip, wameweka vitu kwa mapua na wapi. Unajua vile, it doesn't look good.
Very disturbing.
It's very disturbing, yes. And then you imagine the kind of discussions. This is someone who tunaongea stories of billions.
Yes.
This is a billionaire. This is a billionaire lying here on the floor of a police station in this situation. Yes. Now imagine me, mwenye billion nasoma kwa gazeti. Yeah? Custody horror, they talk about custody horror here. And that story is again on page 4, the entire page. And what people may have missed is that Tuju now finally, the High Court in Nairobi granted yesterday the former Arieda MP a temporary reprieve allowing him bail ahead of any formal charges, 200,000 shillings, which is something which is very, very affordable for him. We're talking about billions here.
Yes.
All right. But ile kesi na face sasa si ati ni hata ya loan. Sasa ni ile story ati alijiabduct alafu akafanya polisi wakakimbia helter skelter. Sasa hiyo ndo anapelekwa kotini kuhusu. So that's the only story on the front page. Huku ndani masuala ya mafuta hiyo covered on page 2, petroleum crisis, call for return of subsidies and price reduction as fuel crisis looms. So it might go back to subsidies as well. Because if EPRA now increase the fuel prices, it will be too much for many Kenyans.
Yes.
So there are those who are proposing we will go back to subsidies. Remember, the president said we will not subsidize consumption. I don't know kama he'll have to go back on his word in this instance. Yes. Hiyo mambo ya bodies kule Kericho is entire page 3 iko hapo. So the main stories hapa ni bodies, Tuju, fuel so far. Back page of the Standard. What a sight it will be to have Italy back after 12 years in the cold. And hey, ile image iko pale nyuma ya the Standard, the back page. You know, this is the beauty of the World Cup. 4-time World Cup winners Italy face immense pressure. The final lineup for the 2026 World Cup will be decided over the next week. with 16 teams competing for the last 4 places allocated to European countries. So the scenes there, hiyo picha iko hapo nyuma ya The Standard, jitafutie. This is what makes the World Cup very interesting.
Very, very beautiful. That one I agree with you.
Yes, very interesting photos there on the back page of The Standard. That's The Standard today. 32 pages of it. Grab yourself a copy.
All right, People Daily now talks about potty mouth politics. Potty mouth politics. Why do our politicians shy away from discussing issues? Is a question People Daily are asking on the page 4 of this newspaper. Zile siasa za unakula sana, polluting the air in meetings. Wewe enda gym and fat. On the other hand, we will make sure, William Ruto, you're not going to sleep for the next 6 months. Tutakuanika na hawa vijana wangu. That is Rigathi Gachagua. He has been quoted here. Ndiye alianza na siasa ya masikio sijui imetoka ikakaje.
Well, the president said that he will use 1% of his time to do. But 1% inakaa ni mingi because the media is just focused on that 1%.
So we are the problem, partly.
Are we?
Maybe.
Could we be the problem?
Sisi, we are just reporting what is happening.
Yes.
And I think some point the public, yafaa yaone.
Do you feel that the media should filter and say that, fine, we will not amplify this debate, we will not talk about what exchanges they are having?
Then how would people know that this is what our politicians are doing if we have to hold them accountable?
Yes.
They're not talking about real issues. They're talking about non-issues, as we've talked about. Wanaenda pale, kuna watu wanakufa mahali, watu wanazikwa Kericho, watu wanalala njaa.
Wanazungumzia kuhusu wasichana na mafamilia ambayo bado wako in mourning.
You see, I think that is what the media should be doing, showing Kenyans the leaders that they elected.
Yes, the quality of discussions they're having, the discourse in our political exchanges that we are having, that's a quality that you elected.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we will show you as it is.
Because it's not the media who elected any of them. Yeah. Remember at one point the top 2 who were antagonists or protagonists, the top 2 were number 1 and 2 in this country.
Yes.
Yeah. And they were elected with a majority of votes cast.
Marafiki wawili.
So Kenya, whatever is happening right now, we're just reporting what you, the consequences of your action. The consequences of your voting, that this is a quality of political in Kenya.
This story is on page 4 of the People Daily. Other quick headlines here. Kenyan cop on Haiti mission. I did my duty, but I'm not going back. Well, some of them are already back, and we're expecting another group. We were expecting them this week. We're yet to see that report if they're back or not. Lamu, the world's most expensive cul-de-sac. There's another story here on page 13 of this newspaper. There's a story there on the top strip of Paper Daily. KAL land worth 986.5 billion shillings illegally occupied. Wanasema land has been illegally occupied at Kenya Airports Authority kule na churches na watu ambao hawajulikani. Yesterday we were reporting also that the JKI, the international airport, Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, is in a very bad state, understaffed. The floors are looking so bad, the roofs are looking so bad, like the airport inakaa vibaya sana. And then today we are reporting that the land inakuwa
the issue about land, because I think Kenyans have this uncanny behavior. Yeah, ukiona land yote, when you see land that's bare,
idling,
you feel it's idling. You feel that it should be occupied.
Yeah.
So the land around the Wilson Airport, because there's so many residential areas around the Wilson Airport.
Yes.
They've actually made that airport become one of the most dangerous airports, because when planes are descending, now they have to make sure they navigate, or they're taking off, they have to navigate. There are only 2 routes that they can use, because the space all around the airport has been taken over.
Yeah.
There's a time a few years back when people were developing houses in Syokimau, and they ate into the airport's land, which in terms of expansion, that's the only place they can use. Yeah. So hiyo ni shida sana hapo JKI. So anasema, and this is almost 1 billion shillings. No, 986.5 billion shillings. That's almost 1 trillion shillings worth of land, according to this story. Hiyo ni pesa mingi sana. Sema bilioni moja unaweza tumia 83 million for 37 years every single day. Ndio billion iishi. Now you can imagine 985.6 billion. Eh? That's a lot of land either way. And that's the People Daily today. You can read more on that story about the airport land on page 6. Let's take a look at the Star. And the Star today, this Wednesday, talks about the Western Express unlocking trade. So they're talking about that extension that has been so much publicized since last week, launched by President William Ruto from Narok all the way to Kisumu, 264 kilometers from Bomet through Nyamira, Kericho and Kisumu, and eventually all the way from Kisumu through Siaya, Vihiga, Kakamega counties, ending up at Malaba. Itapitia Dibusia, 107 kilometers. So in total, about 373 kilometers of SGR. So they're talking about what this project could mean for those people in that region: lower transport costs and efficient access to broader markets awaiting traders. Na watu kama Ann Odida wakienda maeneo ya nyumbani, sasa utaanza kupanda train.
Kwa nini?
Ama huwezi consider train?
Ni how many hours? So wamesema ni how many hours hapo?
Hawajasema they are not talked about the number of hours.
Lakini ukiona
kama si 45 minutes you can do it.
Nakwambia sasa ni kama nimekuwa mzee. Kukaa chini hivi for more than 2 hours.
But the way I know you love reading. Si unaketi vizuri sana comfortably in the SGR.
With my motion sickness I can't.
Unasoma tu vitabu tu, within no time ushafika nyumbani.
Ushasikia kitu inaitwa motion sickness? Sasa mimi ndiko hapa in flesh.
If you want to read about what benefits are there, page 4 and 5, and they talk about for traders, or just about passengers, traders, especially those ones who want to move their goods and services all the way from Mombasa, iende shikane na SGR ya Uganda, which has already been launched. That's why even Museveni had come to Kisumu, they were launched pamoja. Ikishikana, going to DRC, hizi lorry zitapunguka. Cargo, I think it is bigger for traders, even more than passengers, yes. Your story at Tuju, court to rule on Tuju bail as police probe. I think he was already granted bail yesterday, 200,000 shillings. We've seen that on the Standard newspaper. The only other story is here on the front page. There's an interesting story about a miracle. Baby born against the odds after rare abdominal pregnancy. That story is on page 3. Doctors say such cases, Migani hii. Anyway, you can read that story on page 3. Page 2, your story at Tuju. Akiwa kwa hospital bed. On the back page, happy to be back. Matters local football. And that's the Star. Fresh, independent, different. You can grab yourself a copy of this paper for only 60 shillings here. In Tanzania, you can buy it for 1,000 bob. If you are in Uganda, you can get it for 2,000 shillings.
All right, Business Daily, very interesting stories here this morning. Crypto fever rises as 50 firms eye Kenya entry. These include Binance, who are in talks to set up regional headquarters in Nairobi, attracted by growing adoption and tax incentives as Kenya seeks to position itself as East Africa's leading financial hub. Now, they say that they have about 50 companies, specifically virtual asset companies, both local and international, that they have discussed to set up regional headquarters here in Kenya through the Nairobi International Finance Center. That is according to the Chief Executive Officer, Daniel Minder. There's a very interesting story here. Low-end phones to be phased out in CA's Type-C charger rules. Watu wa Type-C, we are winning this. Sai ungeomba mtu wa iPhone charger. Unaona macho anakuangalia naye anakuambia hiyo ni nini unaniomba? Kama
utaharibu simu yake.
Sasa wacha nikwambie right now. Tunaenda Type-C, all of us. Tuone utakuwa inulia nani mapua sai. They say that low-end phones are being phased out.
Machungu na watu wa iPhone.
Wacha niwasome. Low-end phones are being phased out as Kenya mandates USB Type-C charging ports for all mobile phones sold or produced in the country, aligning with the growing global push to standardize charging technology and reduce electronic waste. iPhone, Type-C. On the ticker, anxiety as no oil tanker scheduled to dock at Mombasa. They say that anxiety has risen over a potential fuel shortage in Kenya as more petrol stations reported thinning supplies amid indications that no shipments of the commodity are expected into the country over the next 14 days. KQ flies back to 17 billion shillings loss on capacity constraints, and cheap deposits drive CDN Bank to 6-fold profit growth. These are as far as the regional, local dailies are concerned. Tuvuke boda.
Let's go regional, and we start off with the Daily Monitor in Uganda. There's this dialogue between the current administration and the NUP, ile chama ya Bobi Wine. Ndio wanaongelea kuhusu hiyo, anasema inside state talks over Bobi Wine's party. NUP has apparently demanded an audit of the elections.
Surely.
Hata hiyo Kenya
How many months?
wanakuanga wamedemand fungua server. Hiyo I don't think it's happening anytime. That's the Daily Monitor. On the front page of the New Vision, government to foot medical bills for health workers. Wow, interesting. That's something positive. Matters health, sioni education leo on the front page of. Lakini kuna historia, search for best farmers begins. They're talking about best teachers. Now they're looking for the best farmer in Uganda. That's the New Vision. Twende Tanzania. Tanzania, the front page of Mwananchi hadi wako na Winnie Odinga pale. Wanasema Winnie Odinga, binti wa Raila anayegeuka turufu ODM. Turufu ni Trump card. I had to look it up. So like as we anticipate the NDC, wanasema Winnie Odinga could be the Trump card. I think we've discussed this here before, that he could be the biggest discussion point. That's the front page of Mwananchi. Winnie Odinga, binti wa Raila anayegeuka turufu ODM. Lakini habari kuu pale ni masharti kabla ya kufunga CCTV. Tume yabanisha unavyopaswa kulinda faragha za majirani, watumiaji wengine, waweka kazi wanaotakiwa kujisajili ifikapo Aprili 8. Useke tu CCTV anywhere, you could be actually monitoring neighbor. So unaweka CCTV kwako na hataki kuonekana, privacy. That's Mwananchi on the Citizen Matters business, what 700 billion Tanzanian money deal on strategic metals means. They keep talking about the minerals. I wish we could talk about minerals in Kenya, but anyway, that's Tanzania. Very lucky country.
Ile yetu ya huko kwenu.
Hata ile mafuta sijua ulisikia wakiongea tena hiyo story ilisha. Those are the regional dailies. Tuangazie Karakacha sasa.
We start off with the one on the Daily Nation. Try Dangote fuel is a conversation that is being had here after the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. Tanzania, tuliona, they've already tapped into Dangote fuel. And South Africa is also planning to tap into it I saw they want a 1-year contract with Dangote fuel. So maybe if our suppliers continue to hoard this fuel, then how about we try Dangote fuel?
All right. Then it goes down through the Cape of Good Hope and comes back to the Indian Ocean. Nikazi pia. Anyway.
That's it.
Similar discussions on the cartoon on the start. Iko na missile mingi sana, but now they're comparing the war in the Middle East to the kind of exchanges we see in Kenya. Watu wanatupa missiles to one way or another. President on one side, the opposition on the other. Kumbe sawa wamewekwa pale, President Ruto na Gachagua ni warheads. Wanarusha tu missile. Mwingine ako juu ya gari, mwingine ako huko kwa mkokoteni ya
missiles of the mouth.
That's a start. Next one.
The Standard. There's somebody here with a manifesto. If you remember 2022, the campaigns mostly were done in church. Maybe that is what we're also seeing this year. Campaigns hazijaanza bado, IBC japeana go, lakini zimeanza. So the church is here once again calling this person here with a manifesto a liar.
That's a politician.
Yeah. That's the Standard.
All right. The cartoon on the People Daily has the youth leader. The youth leader anasema, as a youth leader, I will survive the storm. Storm ni nini? There's a huge cloud. That's the NDC. The much anticipated ODM party, NDC, coming up this Friday. A big discussion there. Those are the cartoons. Let's now take a look at the traffic in the city. All right, let's take a look at the traffic in the city, and a close look at Thika Road sees some long stretches of red all the way from KU as you're heading towards town. Areas around Kahawa Sukari, there's a stretch of red, parts of yellow. That's stretching all the way from there past Githurai, past Clayworks, inaenda hadi Kasarani huko chini. And then it extends. Once you pass Kasarani, now it's proper red mpaka pale Garden City Mall. After that, it's smooth, a bit smooth mpaka ufike KCA University, another long stretch of red. Hey, I think now Thika Road is getting busy, really busy this morning. Once you get to Mathare Mental Hospital pale, that Utalii Drift, gari zimesimama kabisa as you approach the Pangani interchange, meaning that also cars that are coming from Kiambu Road are experiencing the same. Once you dip from the DCI, uingie nika unaenda Muthaiga, pale kuna mto, hapo gari zimekwama. If you can avoid those two roads, that section around Pangani, please do. Because even Murang'a Road, pale Guru Nanak, all the way to Globe Cinema roundabout, imeshikana. Na hata upande ile ingine ile barabara inaitwa Wangari Maathai Road. Traffic is really bad this morning along those stretches. Jogoo Road not looking so bad. That stretch past Buruburu Junction at Makadara, a bit busy. But after that, it's Nyue all the way mpaka Machakos bus station as you get into the CBD. Areas around Markiti and Landis Road, Haile Selassie Avenue, not so bad. Tukiangalia Mombasa Road, iko mbaya all the way from the airport. Kwanza ile ya first floor expressway is looking green. Pale chini kidogo tu pale Maradaima, magari zikiingia. After that it's smooth all the way into the CBD. Wayaki Way down past Kabete, ABC Place, Museum Hill into the city is looking good. Wale wanatoka upande hiyo areas like Keno and Gitaru, not so bad. Southern Bypass is green. Ngong Road, a bit of traffic at Prestige Plaza. Other than that, it's smooth all the way. And that's the traffic this morning.
All right, once again, the conversation we are having this morning is about the Niko Kadi initiative. Wewe uko Kadi, talk to us on our socials, TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube, or next at TV47 Digital. Later on, we'll be talking matters of the heart. Relationships, are we over-analyzing love, red flags everywhere, and your story tunaongelelea sai? What do you think? Use the hashtag Morning Cafe TV47 targets at @Ann_Dida is my handle.
Yes, too much focus on money. My handle on X is at Fred Indimuli. See you after the break. I'll be having Nick Mwangi, Winfred Asiko, and Mazden Kibet.
Money is important. See you after the break.
You had to come in on that. All right, good morning once again and welcome back. This is the Morning Cafe on TV47 with me, Fred Ndimuli. Time to take a look at the big headlines. And of course, the biggest discussion has been about the youth and the trend about Nikokadi, registration as voters. We'll be talking about that in a short while. But we want to focus on the kind or the quality of political discourse currently taking place in Kenya, and to see if at all this also serves the younger generation and to what extent it does. Are they involved? Are they convinced? On the front page of the Daily Nation, partly this is what is discussed there. They talk about grief, politics collide, and what has been lost or the byproduct of some of this political discourse that we're having, the kind of exchanges we're having, especially from the top leadership of this nation. And they say that this, now they've taken the angle of families of two girls who lost their lives in the past 5 or 6 years or 7 years or so, one in 2019, the other one in 2023. These families have found themselves having to listen to these politicians discuss about their daughters who've already departed. And they're saying, please stop exploiting our girls' deaths for political mileage. Families tell leaders. What has been happening over years is that at times, a lot of discussions in as far as politics is concerned, ignores the youth. But for how long can we ignore the youth? One of the leaders who spoke recently about youth and Kenyan politics is the former CS Fred Matiang'i, who's the deputy party leader of the Jubilee Party. This is what he had to say.
Na wale ambao watatuongoza katika mtindo huo na safari hiyo ya kubadilisha nchi yetu ni vijana wetu. Tuwakuze, tuwasaidie, tuwape support yote ambao wanahitaji waende mbele ili tubadilishe uongozi wa nchi yetu ya Kenya. Na tuweke amani tukiendelea namna hiyo.
Yes. So as far as what he says is concerned is that the youth should actually be at the forefront of this political discourse. But are they? This is what we want to discuss this morning with my analysts, Nick Mwangi, familiar face on the panel. Karibu sana, Nick.
Thank you so much, Fred. Good morning.
Good morning. Also with us this morning is Mazden Kibet, also an analyst. Karibuni sana. We are hoping that one more person will be joining the panel as we continue. Yes. But if we may consider the level of discourse that's currently happening and where the youth are, because even the two ladies who've been mentioned on the front page, because they were fairly young when they met their respective demise, do you find that there's space for the youth in that? Or simply, are the youth considered collateral damage?
Fred, let me say one important thing that the young people are going through this morning and so many years that has been happening. One dangerous thing that this government has been doing for the last, since they came into power, they've been taking us as collateral damage, Fred. And you know, the president of the day seems to be very unapologetic to certain issues, because looking at the issue of the late Maureen, was it really necessary for it to come up? She was buried almost 2 to 3 years ago, Fred. The parents are still grieving, Fred. And this is a man, as you can see, he's very unremorseful, Fred. And if you remember, there's a young boy who was shot in Rongai, and he kept denying it at that point of time. The 50+ families, including Rex and including Boniface Karaoke recent cases, who came out very loudly to speak about injustices that are happening in this country. For example, if you use the case of the late Boniface Karaoke, when we went to Murang'a, this was a young man who was just selling a mask, who was trying to make his ends meet. We all know that the government of the day has tried so hard to lie to Kenyans that the economy is working, but it's not working. Now imagine a case or a situation whereby, Fred, you go to the streets to fend for your needs or for your family, and you meet the bullet, and what they can tell you, oops. So such kind of injustices, Fred, seems to be very inhumane and very inconsiderate for this government of the day.
Mazden, the discussion around the young people for the last 2-3 years, because they've been very much involved politically, it started off as a discussion around the economy.
Yes.
with the budget-making process back in 2024 and the taxes that were being introduced. That conversation appears to have been lost somewhat. That the youth now and discussions moved from the economy and the discourse that is there between politicians, and I'm not looking at one side of the political divide, it's across board. That the discussions that are there are not in any way concerned about what the youth were talking about in 2024. Do you agree that the political class has missed the point altogether?
You know, the largest share of Kenya's population right now is the youth. So it means that the youths are the major economic driver. And what makes a woman beautiful is that the left side and the right side, they are all equal. That's symmetrical. So when somebody speaks on the other side and forgets the other side of the asymmetrical discourse that have been happening to this kind and other kind of elements, it's you know, someone should pinpoint what has been there since Kenya got independence. Right now, we are talking about unemployment. That's a big discourse, and what makes this about unemployment is about the inflation of the country. And if the youths can get something which is 100 shillings, and you are paying back 90 shillings, it means that we still have a long way to go.
Yes. And even as we continue this discussion, I'd like to welcome Winfred Asiko to the set. Winfred, karibu sana. Winfred is also a political analyst, also a young politician. Looking at the kind of discussions that the younger Kenyan would want to see at the political level. And this is why probably the younger Kenyans were really much aggrieved with what Parliament was doing. That the kind of discussions we should expect in Parliament is not what we see. It should be mostly about the economy, and that is what young Kenyans want. But it would appear that the conversation within the political class has moved to other things and completely ignored what the youth were talking about. Winfred, do you agree? Okay, before we even come to Winfred, Nick, do you agree that we've totally missed the point at this point in time? Yeah.
Fred, when we came out in 2024, the president of the day said, those young people are rudderless, they are clueless, and they don't know what they are doing. And we told them, look, we've been talking about the finance bill. The finance bill, there are elements of things that need to change. One, the economy is still not working. Businesses are dying. The environment of doing business is also not conducive. But he came out gun blazing and very dismissive, Fred. He said, I have to implement this finance bill by chest. Young people went to the street. We went to the street, Fred. But it took us a lot of bloodshed for him to listen, for him to say, look, now I want to talk. But what again I disagree with the broad-based government is they stood to benefit a lot from the struggles of young people, because we know the likes of Rex Masai, Monfest Karaoke did not pay through their lives by certain individuals enjoying the benefit, Fred. Our blood is on their hands, Fred. And they told us again, Fred, look, you guys are still not planless. You still don't vote. You're still not going to appear. Today, young people are saying, Niko Kadi. Young people are coming out in huge number across the country saying, we have to take this voter registration in large number, Fred. And I'm telling you, Fred, we young people have decided that either rain or sunshine or whatever season, that we are tired of this government of the day.
Okay. And we'll come to discuss that trend about Niko Kadi and voter registration, because it's a key issue. But for now, I'm trying to examine where the discourse is, and have the youth totally been ignored by the political class? Because the kind of discourse we are seeing, he was talking about the number of people who died on the streets, fighting for a better economy. And that was the young people generally. And a lot of people, young people, have died. And when it comes to talking about people, we're just talking about death, not the things they were fighting for. Do you agree that probably whatever cause the youth came out to fight for has totally been lost in the current discourse?
You know, Fred, if you talk about the injustices that has happened in our country, we need to go back up from independence up to now. We need to audit. So when somebody, my condolences to the people who lost their life in these last 3 years. But there are so many people who lost their lives for the last 20 to 30 years ago in our country. So when we talk about what has been affecting the youths, we need to go to the numbers of what we observe in the economy and what we get and how many people are employed. Right now in our country, I'd say that there are 800,000 Kenyans who graduate annually. That they are the Form 4s. And you find that 150,000 goes to the university. So it means that the rate in our country is that 150,000 will be absorbed into the government jobs. It's not like 1992 or 1964 when somebody who was in university, before he finishes the third year, or is in for third year or fourth year, is getting government employment. It means that the level of education in 1964 and right now, there are two different things, because right now many youth have gotten the high level of education. So when you talk about this employment thing, we need to look at three different settings. At first, the first one is about entrepreneurship.
But the question now is, are the politicians talking about that? Is that the discourse that you're getting?
Right now, the president has been maneuvering around the country talking about the Nyota program, which has been, it has given youth something which they can start from. 25,000 is a very huge amount of money for somebody who is below the average to start a very good business and other entrepreneurship, digital skills and TVETs. So right now the government is trying to stabilize and correct the injustice that has been happening in the system. And
that's the question, because Mazden says, and rightly so, we've seen the president going around and engaging the youth directly through the Nyota Fund. It would be said that probably, yes, he is addressing the economic question that the young people had raised.
You know, I'm listening to my very good friend, Mazden Kibet, and he's lying to the Kenyans, Fred. He's telling us that president is doing Nyota program. He's not telling Kenyans the truth, that Nyota program is a World Bank loan, Fred. We are owed, or the World Bank has given us 500 million USD, Fred. That means whether you've taken Nyota program or not, you have to pay for it. And he's telling us again that 25,000 is a good money, or is good money for someone who wants to start a business. Fred, let me give you a simple mathematics. When you want to register a business in this country, it's almost 10,000 shillings, right? Do the math. How many do we have? 15,000 shillings remaining. When, I'm assuming he sells clothes. Stock gani atanunua na 15,000, Fred?
One bill.
One bill.
5,000. 3,000, 5,000.
I'm getting to that point, right? Atauzia nani? Amenunulia ma youth bill, si ndio? Au ma youth wenyewe hana hiyo pesa. So inamaanisha nini? Anakula stock. And he's not telling Kenyans the reality that Kenyans don't want the 25,000. Kenyans want, they have gone to school, have gone to study engineering, Fred. How can the government empower industrialization in this country?
All right. When it comes to the economy and the youth, what do you think the question should be as we approach 2027? Forget about what the politicians are talking about now. Do you feel that the youth, because fine, we'll talk about voter registration, do you feel that the youth are still pushing for a better economy? And what questions are they pushing now?
Currently, the youths are talking about what's on the table, not on the menu, so that we don't want to be the flower girls come 2027. The youths wants to be the economic drivers. So there are so many major aspects of which we need to look at different lenses. And one lens is that 1 is better education, 2 better healthcare, 3 security of our country, 4 we need to speak. At the end of the day, we should have a very government incentives program that can give the youths and leverage on that, so that we are on the better way.
So do you feel that probably the government is being unfairly criticized? Do you feel that they're actually doing it? Because the other side does not appear to acknowledge anything that this government is doing.
You know, at first, for anything, we should criticize the government for what they are doing, so that they can correct their messes. That is the major aspect of what
Opposition, yeah.
of opposition. So I believe that I believe that maybe we are on the wrong track or the right track on the same way.
All right.
You know, Fred, what Mason does not want to tell Kenyans outside there, what happened to Hustler Fund? The president said, Nyama Hustler, Nyama Mamboga. Now he's lying again to young people and women outside there saying Nyota. I was just doing a simple math that Mazen cannot explain. Hata tujafika kulipa rent ya place mtu anauzia hizo nguo zake. Hata hajalipa sijui bei ya kanjo. These are business people that will tell you
25,000 haiwezi.
Haiwezi. Fred haiwezi. In Nairobi.
Let's engage Winfred here before we take a break. Winfred, the issue is that there are issues that the Kenyan youth would want addressed by the political class, or at least by Kenya's politics. What are these issues according to you?
I've been a big criticizer of this government. But when I came to my senses, I came to notice that that indeed, as a human being, you need to start thinking logically and not emotionally for you to be able to move forward. So first of all, I know the major issue in this country is unemployment for the youth. Which is really, really evident. And you see the number of young people moving from colleges, from universities. There are so many. So the main issue here is unemployment. But for this unemployment, the government has come up with incentives or ways to help curb this menace. And one of them, which my brother is really criticizing, is the Nyota program. The Nyota program is not giving 25,000, it is giving 50,000 shillings. So you get 25,000 in the first phase, and then you'll get the 25 in the second phase. That is, they are looking at how sustainable your project or your business is. If your business is really doing good, they add you the money. They cannot give you the 25K, you go and piga sherehe, then you come back, you say you want the other 25K. It cannot work like that. So I feel like young people of this country, we need to be logical, to be objective in everything that we are doing.
The Nyota program will benefit about 800,000 Kenyan youth. Do you feel that's enough when you talk about the number of youth in Kenya right now?
It's not enough, but the government is still going to bring more and more programs to help the youth. The president has not said that now we have stopped at the Nyota program. That has not come out of his mouth. So as much as we criticize the government, as much as we say that this government is bad, let us also be positive and look at the positive side of it.
Do you feel that this conversation, every time it starts in any platform, it's always government versus the opposition? That even the youth have been drawn to that? That you're no longer talking about what you need, you're addressing which side of the political divide you either support or oppose?
I understand what you're saying, Fred. That's what I've said. So we would rather be logical, because you see, every time we start talking about this conversation, someone is either on the opposition side or on the government side. It's either they are saying, this government should go, or this government is there to stay.
Is that helping the youth? And that's the question, because even just gauging by the kind of feedback I'm getting, it's that it depends on which side of the political divide you're in.
You know, my very good friend Asiko, he was once on our side. And I don't know how. I don't know what logic. You know, I'm struggling to understand that logic. But you know, I heard a very good president yesterday. He said that we need to look for friends. I don't know how friendship found way. But this is my point, Fred. The honest conversation that young people are saying, we need one talk about element of accountability. You came with a manifesto, you said you'll deliver 1, 2, 3. We are providing a scorecard. SHA is not working. They're saying it's working. I've gone to almost public hospitals. It is not. It's still struggling.
All right.
We go to universities, Fred.
And Nick, you know, you've gone back to the same. And I will still stick with that question when we come back after the break. Do you feel that the youth who are apolitical come 2024, they said the entire political class has failed us? Do you feel like the youth have finally been dragged into the politics of the day, which has been reduced to banter between the top two protagonists, the president and the leadership of the opposition. We'll be talking about that even as we talk about voter registration and the trend of Niko Kadi after the break. All right, welcome back. You're watching Morning Cafe on TV47 with me, Fred Indimoli. I'm still in studio with Nick Mwangi, Mazden Kibet, and Winfred Asiko, political analysts who are young at heart and also young in age. The question we are asking is, because we're trying to examine the idea of the Kenyan youth and what they're looking for in the next election and their involvement in the current politics. And even before we talk about voter registration, which is a big discussion, my question, Mazden, and I don't think any of our viewers understand or attempted to answer it, is the youth, when they claim they were apolitical, partyless, tribeless, and leaderless, and all these things, they had things they wanted addressed. It would appear that 2 short years later, you have successfully been dragged into partisan politics. It is either you support the current administration or the opposition side. Don't you feel that by that you've lost a lot in what the youth were pushing for?
You know, at first we need to stop this. We need to stop the politics of illusion. At first, the youths, when they were in the streets, what they asked for, they were very genuine questions. They asked this administration, of which I agree with them 100%. But in between, there are people who tried to enter the good discourse about the youths, and now it becomes about tumbocrats. So at first, this thing was very real, but once people started asking for money so that they can do 1, 2, 3 things, that's what reduced this thing to...
So it is a youth who lost their cause. Their own cause, they lost it at some point.
Their own cause lost it on the way. Mm-hmm. Because why should you ask for money from this administration to do 1, 2, 3 things? It's like this Ayatollah Khomeini talking about the donkey and the carrot. Mm-hmm. So the donkey... somebody shows the donkey the carrot in front of it. The donkey follows that carrot, and it forgets that the other voles which are being hidden. So that's what I mean.
Okay. But I can see there's quite some feedback that you're having. Let me sample some here. Who among the confused opposition is a Gen Z? Ruto is younger than all of them. See now, everyone is getting partisan in this discussion. Keith Biwot says, I love this Gen Z narrative. I will surprise the sponsors come 2027. Gen Z have identity. But what identity? That's the question I'm asking. They will align themselves with the politics of that region. Yes, Mount Kenya will follow Maskio Party. Rift Valley may go the wheelbarrow way. Nyanza and Western may sink into the orange. Mwingine asema, remember, each president candidate has their own Gen Z. And that's the question. That ownership of these younger Kenyans appears to have already gone to either side of the political divide.
Yes.
It is either you are with the president or you... But was that the case?
Fred,
in 2024, it was something different.
In my view, I really don't think that the young people have gone to the old guards. I think it's the old guards who are trying to lure the young people.
Haven't they done so successfully?
No, they have not. Fred.
They have.
No, they have not.
Among all of you here, I can already tell which side you speak for.
No, it's, and you know, Fred, when we speak about issues here, we cannot be reduced to two sides.
Aren't you reducing yourselves to either or?
Fred, let me tell you, who spoke about the finance bill? Who came out? Where were the old guards? They were at their comfort zone. Nobody wanted to show up. But when it mattered, when they realized that the young people are now becoming unstoppable, they came in to join us.
Divide and rule.
They came in to join us. Fred, today we are speaking about Niko Kadi. The old guys are also jumping in. Yes, lazima ukue kadi.
Exactly.
You get. And I'm saying this, Fred. Young people are more focused than ever.
Are they?
Yes, Fred.
We've just done a survey
Fred.
here, and I can tell you that you've successfully been sucked into the debate of either or. So you're either supporting the united opposition or you're supporting
I know, Fred, what you're also not seeing, that 2027, a large majority that did not vote in 2022 will come out as independent thinkers, Fred.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That thing of independent thinkers, a Kenyan youth independent, really, right now, independent from the current political mapping. Are you really independent?
What I would love to say is, first of all, the young people are the majority in this country. And I am looking at, personally, I am looking at the millennials and the Gen Zs. They are actually almost 70% of the Kenyan population. And what I'm so happy is that whatever we have been speaking here on this show or on Friday, it has really come to pass. And we are the same people who have been encouraging the young people to go and register as voters so that they can be able to elect the number of people they want from 2027. And what I'm so glad is that people are beginning to think independently. Yes, they are beginning to think, yes, Fred, because if they have taken the initiative of going to register as voters, and that is what all of us wanted here, whether we are in government, whether we are in opposition, all the young people, that is all we have been pushing for. We have been telling young people, you can't be shouting on the streets, you can't be making noise online when you don't have a voter's card. And yes, we have seen that they have really come out in large numbers to do that. So that is still thinking independently. Now the problem is they have made it to be emotional. You see, they're saying they're going to take these voters' cards so that they can send Kasongo home. Why don't they just say they're taking these voters' cards so that they can elect the people that they want?
Do you think that is a problem, that it is either you support one term or two term, even as you go to register? Does it have to be that way? It's either one term or two term?
It doesn't have to be like that. It is supposed to be, it is your responsibility as a Kenyan to have a voter's card. You don't need to get emotional or get into a problem so that you decide, oh, I need a voter's card. No, this is something that you need. As the same way you have an identity card is the same way as a person. You should just know that, hey, I need to have a voter's card, not to be reminded. We have been reminding this thing for more than 6 months before this initiative has come. So that is why I said we should stop being emotional and start thinking logically.
Mazden, one of the feedback we got was that every presidential candidate has their own Gen Z. That either way, even if you go and register as voters, it will be down to which side of the current political arrangement do you support. That it's either you are going one term or you're going two term, and that's it. There's no independent thinking among these young new voters.
That comment spikes about that. Right now, the current youths have been reduced from being tribeless to supporting their tribe. That's what you mean. And we need to move from that discussion at the end of the day, because we need to have a proper leadership. When you mean proper leadership, is that it doesn't represent which kind of the community you come from in this country. Where you are. Anybody can rise from the occasion and be the president and be a leader of this country and represent the country in a very good, sober way. Because right now, the youths are not job seekers. They are job creators. They are the engine of our economy. So when this kind of comments come from, he wants to reduce us back to 1980s to back the 19th century kind of politics. You are in the 21st century.
But what will change? What will change? Because it would appear everyone agrees that what is happening right now is back to status quo. Because you wanted to dislodge the status quo. That was a push. That the politics and status quo by 2024 June was not serving the youth.
Yes.
And that was in agreement. But now it would appear you've gone back to serve the same status quo, and there's no change. And the politicians have already realized this. That's why they're even taking over the hashtag Tukokadi so fast, because they know you must align with either or.
You know, Fred, I was listening to my good friend Asiko, and he's advising us we become logical. I wonder where she was when the mother of Rex was mourning his son. I wonder where she was when we went to Barry Boniface karaoke. I wonder where she is right now when the people of Kakamega are not eating. I wonder where she is again when the people of Kakamega are sleeping hungry. Fred, and you know, such things as that is what is making us young people angry. When the president of the day comes, usipige wale watu risasi kwa kichwa, wapige kwa miguu. You want us to become logical about that, Fred? When the MP of Belgut echoes what the president says, piga hawa risasi kwa kichwa. You want us to become logical about such issues, Fred? You know, and I'm saying, Fred, when I remember 20th May 2020, when this man called George Floyd in the United States came out and people said that he was killed by a cop. By the time April 2021 arrived or reached, the cop was in custody. He was jailed. We are not seeing such issues here in Kenya, Fred. We are seeing that these people are saying, look, there can be crime and injustices in this country, but let's use logic.
Okay. But the issue is, and
Fred,
I can see, allow me to read one more feedback here. Wilson KTM says every tribe has their own Gen Z. Is it the first time Gen Zs are voting? Yes, most of them, quite a huge number of them, will be voting for the very first time, because most of them are registering for the first time as voters. But the question is, the consequence of this, more numbers, does it mean that anything will be different? Or is it just bigger numbers and more of the same? Mazda.
You know, my good friend here, let me, the family of Rex, they need justice, right? He needs to speak about Baby Pendo, the River Yala bodies which were dumped in parts of Kakamega. When you tell us the people of Kakamega, they are not eating, that's a very dangerous move. You know, right now, there was in fertilizers for all over the country. You know, sometimes when you speak these things, you need to be very logical and you stop reacting emotionally. So, back to our question, Nick, Fred, is that this country, you know, we are in 21st century, and we are trying to correct what has been happening from the past. You know, right now it's about digital and technological skills, right? You know, the American system, they are here because they started 17th century, so they are 200 years apart from us. As we are still developing. Kenya right now, we are 64 years since independence. So right now the system is now back to we are stopping about the politics of handouts, politics of illusion. Now we are talking about the politics of real issues. So the real, what I'm expecting is about, we are not there, but in the next 10 to 20 years, our incoming generation will benefit from what we have been fighting.
And we should give the administration time. But there's feedback here by Andrew Karaoke, and it's directed at you, Marsden. He says, Marsden has no clue. UDA regime has crashed the economy by increasing tax. This is not what Boda Boda and Mama Boga anticipated.
I agree.
These are some of the issues that people are raising back then. But you still argue we are better now and we should give
No, they are telling us use logic.
time. Yeah. Is that, kindly respond to that.
You know, at the end of the day, the inflation, it what affects everything in our country. The supplies and the demand, it what make us what we need to do. For example, right now, at first I said that when somebody gets 900 shillings, it means 70 shillings goes to taxes, and 30 shillings is what the youth remain for. For example, when I mean that 100 shillings right now is very expensive for the youth to do one or two, three things. That's what has been a very major factor that affecting the youth. So when we speak about this thing, we need to audit each and every system so that we can get into a clear, better way.
Yeah. All right. Let's now focus on what is happening right now with the voter registration.
Fred,
Tukakadi is
just a minute. This my friend Nick wants to destroy me politically because he say that I don't care what is happening to the people of Kakamega. That is a very wrong statement because the people of Kakamega know that I'm the one who defends them. I'm the one who have been defending the young people of Kakamega. I'm the one who has stood with them. And I'm still standing with them. I'm still standing with the women of Kakamega. Why do you want to destroy me politically, Nick? This is a statement that has really pierced my heart and the hearts of Kakamegans. So,
all right.
So please, as we continue with this discourse, let Nick be careful.
All right. The issue here, and I'm reading one of the comments, they're saying the enemy is a current regime. Tukokadi means one-term movement. Is that correct, that the trend, Nikokadi or Tukokadi, simply means one term? Is it?
Why not?
Is that right?
Why not, Fred?
Why reduce it to either or?
Because, you see, if a regime is not working, what option do you have? We saw it in the United States. The regime was not working. Trump had to go home.
So every Gen Z or every young Kenyan who registers as a voter means they are not for President Ruto?
Every Gen Z, every voter is saying that, look, our parents are suffering, SHA is not working, we are still not going to school. You've heard Matson say, you get 100 bob, 70% goes to tax. So that's not practical. How will the economy survive? Now imagine another 5 years of such kind of turmoil and suffering. Fred, where will this country be?
Okay. As a young Kenyan, do you understand Tukokadi in that way, that every person who's registering now is against the current administration?
Not everybody is very negative about the current administration. We are very positive because this is our country, this is our motherland, this is where we come from, this is where we are born. So when we have a very wishful thinking about administration, about bad happenings to our current regime, it means that you as a person, you don't have faith. So we should have faith for the government, for people who we elected, because it is the youth who made the president where he is right now. And it is supposed to be the youth who should support him on what he's doing. So some of these negligence comments, we should have a very practical way of telling, okay, right now, this is our demand. This was our demand. We need to audit where from where you started up to where you are. What have you done in the course?
Okay.
And what are the implications at the end of the day? So that when it comes to 2027, when we say Niko Kadi or Tuko Kadi, when you vote, we are voting on something which is on a trend,
yes,
which can.
Yeah, and I think your understanding of this movement, the trend Nikokadi or Tukokadi, because some interpret it as anti-government. But we've seen the president also say yuko kadi hata yeye mwenyewe. There are people or there are younger Kenyans who come from areas that predominantly support this administration. Should they also have ownership of that Tukokadi trend?
Tukokadi is, I feel like it's the young people's initiative to register as voters, which is a good trend. Personally, I support it 100%. And that does not translate to one term or whatever whatever narratives the opposition is trying to push through this Tukokadi narrative. And I want to tell my friend Nick, you see, you are forgetting that this country, from leadership, you're beginning from MCAs, members of parliament, women rep, senators, governors, up to the president. Leadership is not about presidency only. So as we say this thing, Tukokadi, which is a very good trend, and I really support it 100%, let us not put it specifically, oh, now we want the president to go home. No, let us put it as a way of knowing that, hey, you have your MP has CDF, has the CDF worked? Your governor has a budget, has the billions he has been given worked for the county. Your woman rep has money. It is the 140 to 144 million per year. The money is there. So you have to look at all leaders and say, hey, I need good leadership. And if you need good leadership, that is when we have been telling young people, hey, go register as voters. And we are so glad. Personally, I am happy, honestly, because this is what all of us on this bench have been pushing. We have been saying, hello, young people, if you want to elect the people that you want from 2027, first go register as voters. And after this Tukokadi initiative is over, I also want to see another initiative or another trend that when we are nearing the election, that will be telling people that let us go now and vote. Because you see, we don't want to see that voter empathy, like people are not going to vote, yet they have the voter's card. I want to see young people going to vote. Apart from just registering, I want them to see them going to vote for the people that they want.
Don't you agree that it is misguided for any of the current political groupings to claim ownership of Tukokadi?
Well, before we get to that, Fred, one thing I also want to educate our young people. It's very important that they guard their national ID, because on the day of the voting, they are not going to be asked the voter registration card. They're going to be asked their ID. So it's very important. As they take those cards, let them protect their national ID as if it's a matter of do and die. Because bad leaders produce bad governance, period. Fred, and I understand what my good friends from the broad base are trying to say. And, you know, it's very sympathetic and it's very unexcusable. On one hand, you'll hear Asiko say, look, I'm fighting for the people of Kakamega, those who are hungry, but let us protect the president. He does not want to remember that, look, the president is the one who controls largely about the budget. He's the one who will intimidate her if she gets the woman that sits and saying, if you don't support me, I'm not going to give you the budget to serve the people of Kakamega. Those are not the issues that Asiko will want to talk public for the people of Kakamega to hear. Martin is here saying, look, young people are not responsive, are not responsible enough, or people have been doing what since time immemorial. But what is not telling the young people, the truth is, we have suffered immensely, psychologically, emotionally, and physically through abductions. He has not come out clearly even to apologize for such issues, Fred.
All right. You still haven't answered my question.
And I tell you, Fred.
I asked you a direct question on the ownership of this trend, Tukokadi. Is it a uniquely youth-driven trend, or is it right for any of the two major political groupings to claim ownership of it? Because that's what's happening. The president on one hand says Tukokadi, the united opposition claiming that anyone using the trend is on their side. Is that a fact?
And I tell you, Fred, when we came out in 2024, there was no ownership. When we came out in 2025, there was still no ownership. And the people of Broadbase said, oh, we have been funded by Ford Foundation, some people from some quarters are funding us. Now today they also want to reduce the same conversation to the same thing, Fred. And I'm telling you, young people are independent thinkers. Young people know what to discuss.
So both groupings are wrong to try and claim ownership.
Exactly, Fred.
Right. Let's talk about the life of the trends, because elections are about 16 months away. Just before the trend of Tukokadi, we had another trend.
Yes. Sisi
Sifuna. That appears to have gone down just a bit, Mazda. And that brings into question the longevity of such a trend and what it would take to sustain it till election day. You talked about a trend that should come up as we get closer to elections. Should that be the way, that after every month or 2 months a new trend comes up just to sustain the movement by the youth?
You know, in our country, we are very advanced in technological ways. And when this Mimindo Sifuna movement started, the youths wanted to hear their voices, wanted to hear their real questions, their real uprising they have been asking for. But when the two debates started with that, where went Mwizi, where went he, this kind of conversation, the youth now backed down and decided, no, we're not going to support Mimindo Sifuna because these guys are going to take us where we started from. So now they have started with a new narrative about Tukokadi. Tukokadi is about encouraging Kenyans to go and register as voters. If you look at the numbers of registered voters since IBC opened from, it's way above. It's way above the numbers which can make someone the president. So Nikokadi is about, let's go register as a voter, so that when you tell the old girls, now we the youth stand for our country, they can listen and they can say, at first, what were your grievances? This was our grievances. So this is what I've tried to I've done. Are you going to support me for the second time or not? The young people can say, no, we're not going to support you. We need fresh blood. So from that kind of advancement of the youth, Nikokadi, we need to go out in large numbers.
Will you need another new trending hashtag?
Yes.
The next month or so, because mass voter registration will kick off next week, on 30th, I think on Tuesday, end of March. Will this current hashtag Tukokadi be able to carry the youth from the continuous voter registration at the constituency level into the mass voter registration, or will it require Nikokadi? And this is a debate that transcends the political divide. So, yes.
So Nikokadi, I'm thinking in the next six months, the youth now will start another grievances.
Do you see it even lasting 6 months?
It won't last that much. In our country, there are so much hypes, and the hype and movement are two different things. When you move from hype to a movement, yes,
it's a sustainability of a trend and what it can, as you say, Tukokadi has managed to bring the youth out to register as voters, despite the mass voter registration still not kicking off. Do you see it sustaining, and for how long?
Fred, trends are good, and as I had said earlier, I will still love this trend, and that's why I said to curb voter apathy in future, we need another trend. And you see, in 2024, when the Gen Z uprising protests started, they said they wanted Matiang'i. And today, they say they want Sifuna. And then another day, they will say they want, I don't know who, they wanted Makoure also at some times. They also came at a time they wanted Morara Kebaso. So I don't know what happened, but at least these trends that are making a few individuals famous, from Matiang'i, from resigning from his job at World Bank to coming back to Kenya to vie for president. Actually, the Gen Zs who brought him to Kenya. And then from Morara Kebaso to registering a party, Inject Party. It is because of the Gen Zs that made him popular.
You forgot about Inject.
Sorry?
Hey, you forgot about that trend of Inject.
That party is, I don't know even if it is there. I'm not sure. And then now from Morara, then they came to Makoure. Then Makoure, I don't know what happened. He left them, then he went to government. And then from Makoure, then it now came Sifuna. Now Sifuna and Babu, which is a good thing. I really love what young people are doing. They're using their trends to at least weigh the kind of leader that they would want, or the leader that they really want. The problem is the sustainability. You see, when you have, when you're doing something and you have a goal or an objective, and you're focused on that goal, which, for example, this Tukokadi initiative, it is good because the goal is to register as voters, as many people as possible. So to me, this Tukokadi initiative will go a long way up to when the registration will end. Then after the registration ends is when another one will also come. So I don't know which trend will come, but trends are always there because these trends, there was also another person during the election, the Githeri man. I don't even know where he disappeared to. So these trends are there, and trends are not meant to last for long. So as Kenyans or as young people, that's why I said from the beginning, we need to be objective and logical. Let us look. If indeed, I don't have a problem with the kind of leader they want. If they want the president or if they don't want it, the leader, they know. They know what they want best. The young people know. If they don't want the president, then who is their candidate? Because they have not told us who their candidate is.
All right.
Yes.
And now with the debate about the longevity or otherwise of these trends, should that be the way that probably the youth should look short term? Probably every move should maybe last 2 to 3 months, then you move to something else. Within 16 months, we should have had like 5 different trends that are pushing towards the same thing towards the end.
You know, I was just listening to my very good friend Asiko. She's mocking the Gen Z, saying that Gen Z have been changing their minds. Yet her herself has changed her mind from one term
Isn't
to
that the nature of young Kenyans and young politicians?
But that's what I'm saying, Fred. It's only a fool who does not change their mind. And me, I'm looking at it.
So there's no problem if I changed my mind.
Me, I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it as the Gen Z creating a new political order, Fred. And we have been so much consistent.
Beyond the hashtag?
We are just looking at our options, Fred, and we feel that everyone that has been presented on the table has not qualified enough to meet our intellectual capacity, Fred. And you see,
should the short nature or the short-lived nature of these trends be seen as a lack of focus or lack of direction
really,
on the angle?
Really, we were accused the other day. We are just online gurus. Today we are going to register as voters. Now what are they going to say, Fred? They told us, oh, we don't know anything apart from social media. Oh, there's nothing that we do apart from trending. Now we are making going to vote become a trending issue, Fred. You know, we are urging so many young people to come out and register as voters, Fred. And me, I'm looking at it as a way of creating a new political order because
based on trends, however short-lived they are.
And again, what's wrong with that, Fred? Because if you look at if it's a matter of trends, we have been so much consistent on trends, and we have been so much consistent on one thing. We need change, Fred. No matter if it is Sifuna or Matiang'i or someone else who will come in on the ballot.
But she argues that you keep changing your mind, and yes, it's true that that once you were talking about Matiang'i,
yes,
but after a while you stopped talking about Matiang'i, you talked about Sifuna.
Yes.
And it looks like probably after a while you may slow down talking about Sifuna and get someone else.
But what is really consistent is we need change. That's what young people are saying. It does not matter who's in the candidate on the table. And at some point she was joining me saying, oh, look, we need to get rid of this government. Now she's shouting this government needs to retain. And you know, Fred, I totally understand her position today currently. And I'm telling you, if the old guards are trying to keep up with us young people, it means we are creating a new political order, Fred.
Because the question is, some of this, and we've seen that for hashtags to trend, some of them are engineered, that some of them are paid for. You can actually pay to have a trending hashtag. Don't you think that the politicians, the same way they've jumped onto Tukokadi, the same way some of them jumped onto Linda Mwananchi, the same way they jumped onto Mimi Ndio Sifuna, that even in this way, using short-term trends, they may find a way of engineering trends that would draw the youth into their kind of thinking.
Don't you know, Fred, for the first time in history, it is the young people who brought a sitting president on X. Don't you know it's the first time in history that the president had to join us on TikTok?
Yet that agitation died within months.
Really?
And that's the question.
Fred, and you see, and I tell you, why is he singing the same language that we are singing? Because he knows our capacity. He has seen our capacity, Fred.
Don't you think that politicians will get into that space as well and engineer their own trends now that they've learned that this is where the youth are? You know, short-lived trends.
At the end of the day, we should thank our youths for being objective kind of narrative they are bringing into our country. the conversation now has moved from the past to the new technological advancement, which are being advanced by the youth. The politicians will have to follow that narrative at the end of the day, and by that it means that they have to own it up. By owning it up, it means that by owning it up, it means that at the end of it means that.
It would appear you've lost that train of thought. But we'll come back to you. Let me sample some feedback here. Hilak says, Mazden is very right. We should not be reacting emotionally. Let's talk matters politics, not where you are. I continues to say, when you're involved, it's grace and you tend to praise the system. But when you're not involved, it's corruption. You start now yapping all across internet and all corners of the country. It's what we are talking about.
Yes.
That it's either this side or the other side.
Yeah.
But should it be that way?
No.
Don't we have, even as Kenyan youth, a pursuit of something totally different that probably we don't see in the current political groupings, Winfred? That everything is locked between the current administration and the united opposition, then there's nothing beyond that?
Fred, the same way water is life, politics is life. Because if you don't talk, politics will shape your education, will shape your healthcare system, it will shape your economy, it will shape everything. So we cannot have these conversations when we are not talking about the political class, or when we are not talking about politics. So what I feel like with the young people, as I said from the beginning, it doesn't matter whether you're supporting the opposition or the government, but what matters is what do you see Kenya in your hands as a young people after the old guards are gone? What will Kenya look like when you as a young person is now the person running that country? And as much as we have these hashtags of trying to say, we are against the government, I don't have a problem with that, because you see, human beings are independent thinkers, and you see, we are liberal-minded. We can't think the same. That's why when even you look at the fingers are not the same. They are totally different. So someone will say, the government has helped me do this. Another person will say, the government is really pushing me to that corner, and I feel like this is just the end of me. You see, like for example, myself, there are those people who are telling me, I really hate this government. And there are those also who are telling me, this government is good. So things, what young people need to look at is be objective. Number one, this government has some incentives that are good, or they're good for young people. I'm looking at like AGPO. You see, we are 30% of procurement services are put aside for young people, women, and the PWDs. So if young people try to tap into these kind of potentials, these are ventures that can really help them. I'm looking even at the Haba savings for NSSF. As this is automatic. As a young person, you can save some money there, and it will help you in future. I'm also looking at, and that is part of financial inclusion for young people. I'm also trying to look at the Nyota, which people are saying that it's really bad, but those people who took it seriously, it has helped them, because as a young person, even getting personally, if you give someone even 10,000 shillings, someone who's serious, they can know what to do with the money. Okay. And that money can really grow into something big, because a seed is always planted when it's small and it grows bigger.
Okay.
And also we also have this the KY EOP for young people. So there are so many programs the government has that we are not tapping.
Let me take you back to something you said. You were talking about how young people should see beyond the current political class and look at a point where they will be in charge of the country.
Yeah.
But it would appear, because that was probably the kind of talk back in 2024, it would appear that at this point in time, you are not seeing beyond the current political class, that the youth are not seeing the possibility that they could go and become leaders now, that as long as this political class is still in existence, we can only look at their solutions and not offer. So do you agree that that's where you are now? No.
Young people can still be part of the solutions. And that is why most of this information, when you look at like what the auditor has it is just on the internet. You can get it. You can get the information anywhere else. So young people should be part of the shapers of this country, and that is being in leadership and also voting for the leaders they want.
Back in 2024, it was said that Gen Z will be the most consequential voting factor come 2027. Do you still believe that, Nick? That the younger generation, especially those now registering, that they will be the most consequential?
I totally disagree. The government of the day looks very worried. They have been so much worried since they came in. They are very much uncomfortable, Fred. That's why they work day and night to try and separate our thinking and our views, Fred. And
so you're saying they've already been successful? They've succeeded in dissipating that?
That's not what I'm saying, Fred. We are not divided. We are still organized and still independent thinkers.
How organized? That's the question.
We are very. And are you not living in this country? Yeah? Where are you living?
Because the possibility of a third force has been discussed. Away from the two political groupings that currently exist.
Yes.
Because the debate, and I've kept on insisting, right now it is either them or the other side.
Yes.
But there's always been this discussion that the Gen Z will come together and decide.
We are the third force. That's
probably
the point.
A third force.
And that's why they are worried.
Is it still a possibility?
It is a possibility. That's why they are worried. They don't want it to be an option of a third force, Fred. And up to some level, I want to agree with my good friend Asiko that politics is life. Back when we were in high school, we were told that there are three main factors that factors of change that affect the human life. Number one was political factors. Number two, economic factors. Number three, social factors. And political factors, since it's top on the list, seems to be affecting us more, because if you have bad leaders, it means you have a bad economy. It means you have a bad life.
All right. Mazda, you do agree that probably the political class currently has managed to dissipate the threat that was to be presented by the younger voters, that Gen Z, as it were, is no longer a political threat?
You know, when you talk about the Gen Z being the political threat in our country, it means that we need to move from being tribal now to become a more of a sensor kinds of leadership, making it that we don't need to have, we need to have another force in the presidential election. So that it has to bring so many in true kind of the market gap, in that we the youth need to rise on the occasion and make sure that the trajectory this government is going to take is in the right sense.
Do you believe that they're capable of, even if they pick a side currently, that they're capable of even driving the electoral or the campaign agenda of whichever side they pick?
Yes, the youths can make sure that we are going to move into this direction if the youth decide we are not going to support our tribal kind of...
Let's examine it and use the example of ODM party that's having its NDC this Friday. Probably we're going to see other parties do the same going forward. Do you see that within ODM, because it's one of the biggest, probably most consequential parties of the last 2 decades? Do you see the generational change, or do you feel the Gen Z? Kasmal Makore went to ODM. Do you feel the force that the Gen Z are going to have in this NDC, for example?
What I'm so happy about this NDC fact is that they proposed Winnie as the deputy party leader. That really makes me feel so good, because what the young people really wanted was inclusion. And right now they're having political inclusion. And if Winnie is a deputy party leader in that party, it means she will be able to push for the young people's agenda in that party. So I feel like Winnie has done so well, and this party, ODM, I want to applaud it for what they have done. And I'm glad that Winnie has accepted, because you see, most of the time you don't have to oppose everything. Not everything is bad in this world. You don't need to be negative all the time. Sometimes have a positive mind, so that when good things come to you, you see them. You see when you're negative, when even good things come to you, you can't see anything. So what I'm so happy is that the Gen Zs are going to influence what is going to happen in the NDC for ODM this Friday. And Winnie is going to be a deputy party leader. And I'm so happy about that.
That fact has also been captured on the front page of the Mwananchi newspaper in Tanzania. That Winnie Odinga, binti wa Raila, anaigeuka turufu ODM. Turufu is a trump card. I had to check it out. Turufu, yeah. So like she's going to be a factor there. But do you agree that probably the young Kenyans this time are going to be consequential at the party level? Meaning that you're striking out the partyless tag from the Kenyan youth. You've already agreed you have to be part of our political party, but do you feel that using the ODM example, that the young Kenyans or the younger voter is now involved in Kenya?
What I have to applaud so many parties, including the broad-based parties, at least now they're seeing sense of why we young people matter, why we have to involve them. And what they're trying also to do, Fred, is sad, but it is to lock our voices in those parties. Because I foresee a situation whereby if Winnie disagrees with the party leader, she's removed like Sifuna. I foresee such situations, Fred. We can shout and say hooray, as she is saying that if I give you a piece of cloth and then you go hang it, I steal it, I should see positivity. That's what Winnie is trying to say. But ideally what young people are trying to say, we need a space whereby we can air out our views, our independent thinking without facing victimization, Fred. Because such young minds who are given opportunities and are given opportunity to speak are condemned to death. You see a case study of our good friend, Senator of Nairobi. He spoke his mind. He said, who told you? And it's on record that Baba said, who told you? But such statements were not taken kindly with some quarters in the party. Now they are doing an NDC to remove him, specifically.
Does it matter what happens?
No, that is not the objective of the NDC.
As a matter of fact, if you read the papers, they are saying they are targeted people from her community. Will she stand with the people of her community?
My friend, I was the first person to defend my community when it came to ODM. I was at the forefront. And I can never go against my community. So that's why I said let us be logical as we continue the discourse.
And I know that debate about communities may be tricky.
Yeah.
But let's come back to the same example we're using, the ODM NDC, and the position of younger voters in Kenya and the involvement in politics. They call themselves partyless, but have they realized that they will be inconsequential without involvement in political parties? And do you think that factor will be noted in the NDC this Friday of the ODM party?
You know, Winnie Odinga has been the real network and has been the real influence around his father when he was alive. And being in East Africa, in Kenya, for example, Kenya and Africa, the Africans youths, they are rising for young leadership, young movement, people who are the future, who are not people who have like 20 years longevity into this political discourse. Winnie Odinga brings the gap between the older generation and the new generation. And on that also, Winnie Odinga, she's in the right course by demanding to be on the table and not on the menu. So the trajectory Winnie Odinga is trying to take is she's in the right discourse.
Do you think that is an indication, the fact that they are talking about Winnie, that the younger Kenyan, the younger political-minded Kenyan has finally embraced political parties?
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's nothing like tribeless or partyless?
There's nothing like tribeless, partyless.
Fred?
Yes.
When these the Gen Zs came out, me and Nick and others and other young people of sound mind, we said that the young people should at least join a political party for them to drive their narrative or to push their agenda inside that party. You cannot fight a system when you're not in the system. That is what we all agreed as young people. And I'm so happy that is what most young people are doing. And what I'm so happy about the political class is that they have noticed without the young people, they're not going to move. And you see, Fred, we always say that we always see, and we have seen even in the past times, most of the biggest revolutionary acts have been done by Malcolm X and other young great people in this world. They were young, and they did push narratives that did move and created revolutionary acts that changed the world. So young people, first of all, I'm so happy that they're embracing parties. First of all, they had said that they're going to join Inject, but I don't know what happened to Inject party, and I really want to urge Morera to come up and still push his party so that he doesn't look like he's just started something which he was not serious about.
But you said that was just a trend that fizzled out.
No, but you see, it's a party,
all right.
And as a party, you can create structures that can help you.
And before I give you a chance for your final comments, allow me to sample one more feedback here. Eric, Eunice Monene says, Sisi ni Sifuna. Candidate ni Sifuna. Francis Moirori says, kuna Gen Z wametumiwa pesa wa support Kasongo, but kitawaramba. I don't know who nani. Alafu Eunice Monene use the hashtag tukokadi. As you make your final comments now.
To conclude on the issue of Winnie, in my opinion and my view, Winnie is being used to silence a strong young mind called Babu Owino, in my view, because Babu Owino came out as a very strong political factor in ODM.
How is that?
And why I'm saying so, the ODM tried to look for a way to shift conversation from Babu Owino. Babu Owino is coming out very loud and clearly in ODM, and that voice needed to be, let me say, matched with a different young mind. And to me, I see it as her downfall, because where she is, in one stand she stood and said, I am standing with these people. Baba did not leave the party in government. But right now, she's being told, look, we're giving you DPL so that you keep quiet.
Wow. Interesting view.
Finally,
final comment should be about the Kenyan youth and probably the mass voter registration coming up. Even keep that in mind as you make your final comment.
As I conclude, I think what we all agree here as a panel, regardless of our points of view and disagreements, one thing that Kenyans or young people need to know: one, we have to come out and take that voter registration card. This is our time. This is our time to make change. This is our time to think about who we need, to reflect who we need as a good president, as a good member of parliament, as a good MCA or governor or women rep. It's very important that they understand that all these respective positions affect our daily lives. Finally, as I conclude, let them protect their national identity card with all their lives. Because in this regime, it's very difficult to obtain one. And they are trying in some way to segregate, let me say, segregate or to hinder in some areas of this country. If you lose, for example, if I'm a Mwangi, if I lose my ID card, I don't easily get it, Fred. So let them protect their card.
All right. Mazda.
You know, at the end of the day, we should be positive. Positive in a way that it is us who elected this current administration, and it is us who should not be discouraging what the current administration are doing. You know, right now, this thing is a skill-driven. Our country is a skill-driven economy, in that we need to tap into the technology, into the youth-led initiatives, and other digital superhighway of making ourselves what we can get on the table, because we cannot wait for the government to assist you. If you wake up in the morning, you need to make your bed. So you as a youth, when you wake up in the morning, make up your bed. Assist yourself first. You know, you cannot go to help other if there are minor things are affecting you at your home. No, it doesn't happen that way. So you have to help yourself so that when the government comes in, it can chip in 2 or 3 things that are affecting you. So I'm encouraging the youth in our country that this is the time to rise on the occasion in that we need to register as voters. And when we register as voters, for the first time in our history, I need to disagree with my good friend here, Mwangi, saying that people from the mountain, when they register as when they lost their IDs, they cannot. They get hard time to replace. Right now, if you go to Huduma Center, at 9 a.m. in the morning, the line has been closed because 1,000 people per day are registering for ID. That's the kind of a conversation we need to talk about. The historical injustices, the people from the northeastern, people from Turkana, people from West Pokot, they are getting hard times. They used to get hard times to get their ID. And I want to applaud the Ministry of Interior, Murkomen, for trying to get to each and every marginalized communities so that they can register to get their ID, so that they can register not register to get a voter. They can register for government AGPO. They can register for SHA, and other incentives being given by the government.
All right. Thank you, Mazden. Finally, Winfred.
Fred, personally, when I support someone, I don't play psychophancy politics. I play logical politics. And Nick, first of all, I want to correct you. Let us protect Kenyans from disinformation and misinformation. To get an ID right now, it's very easy. Even the 1,000 that was supposed to be paid is not there. So you go and apply for your ID and you get it for free. So do not mislead Kenyans that getting an ID is hard. It is not hard. Secondly, as a country, I feel like as young people, we have done so well. And this Tuko Card initiative is good. Young people go register as voters. Your card is the one that will count. It is the one that will help you get the leaders that you want. And if you're not going to register as a voter, you will not be able to vote. It is as simple as that. So let us not stop going into circles. And once again, the government is not bad. The government has some opportunities that are good for you. Look at the positive side and don't concentrate on the negative side, because it is going to affect you even emotionally as a young Kenyan. So, and all of us, this country has very many universities. And every year, thousands of young people graduate every year. And this makes the job market to be flooded. So young people, let us not just wait to be job seekers. We can also be employers. And this is by thinking out of the box. Thinking out of the box means you can start up ventures that can really help you economically and improve your own life. Okay. Personally, I registered a company when I was only 22, 23. So it is easy for a young person. And this way, you don't need even to register it even as a limited company. You can do it even as a business name, and you continue with whatever you want to do in this country. So let us not just be negative about everything. Sometimes let us see the positive side of some things. Right. So, and as we continue with this conversation, I'll also even want to urge the people of Kakamega to register as voters so that they can elect me as their woman rep in 2027.
Right. I'm also, before we close, I'm also, the people of Mgwen constituency in Rift Valley, as a youth, I'll also be representing, I'm encouraging them to register as a voter. And the other day I saw they don't want the current MPs. So for me, I'm going to chip in and become their MNA next year. Thank you so much. Member of the National Assembly. Yes. And you, Nick?
You know, the people of Resambo know me, Fred.
All right. Nick Mwangi, political analyst, aspiring MP Roysambu, Mazden Kibet,
Mgwen constituency.
All right. And Winfred Asiko, women rep Kakamega.
Yeah.
Aspirants, young aspirants. Yeah. But the question you're asking today is, does this enthusiasm among young Kenyans, and even the hashtag that's trending to Kokadi, will it really translate into the kind of things that the young Kenyans were pushing for back in 2024? That's the question we're asking. Thank you so much for your time at TV47 this morning. Once again, a quick look at the headlines on the Business Daily. Crypto fever rises as 50 firms eye Kenya entry. Taifa Leo talks about uhaba wa mafuta wa nukia. Daily Nation, grief politics collide. And the Standard custody horror, that story about the former Cabinet Secretary Raphael Tuju. People Daily captures this. Potty-mouthed politics, the exchanges between the president and the opposition. And the Star goes with Western Express and